I'm Lloyd Holiday, and this is the Cost of a Thing podcast. Thanks for listening in today. So, what happened to that great standard of living that we used to enjoy here in America in the 1960s and even into the 1970s? Well, that's what the Cost of a Thing podcast is all about, and that's what I'm going to be talking about here. Okay, today I'm going to talk a little bit about what I remember about the beach scene in the 1960s. What was it like down at the beach in the 1960s and the 1970s and even into the 80s? Pretty much the same thing. And what kind of brought this up, I was speaking to a friend that grew up in the Midwest and never really lived on the beach in Southern California or near the beach. And she was saying that she had this idea when she was in the cold Midwest winters, bundled up in a blanket, that out in California, everybody was out at the beach in their swimming suits and bikinis and, living the Gidget lifestyle, like the movie Gidget, or these beach party movies you saw, Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. She thought that they were all out at the beach dancing and having fun, with their surfboards all stuck in the sand around. And well, unfortunately, I had to tell her that's all a big myth as far as I saw. Now, I lived out and grew up there from the age of 7 and stayed there till I was about 31. And I told her I never saw a beach party like that the entire 24 years that I lived down by the ocean. And sometimes I lived pretty close to the ocean, within a half a block or so. And I never saw any of those parties. I never saw any, groups of beautiful girls in bikinis dancing and having, fun dancing in the sand or all that kind of thing. Never saw that. So that is a big myth. It's basically a movie fantasy is all that is. It's not real. No, so that was a Gidget fantasy that was created in the mind of some writers in Hollywood, and they went ahead and made a bunch of those movies, and I guess a lot of people who weren't out there think that's how it is in California, out at the beach. No. As a matter of fact, I never saw that many great-looking young girls in their bikinis down at the ocean. And I certainly, when I got a little older, was interested in girls, I never went down to the beach and never met a girl at the beach that I remember. They're not even down there. If you're going to meet a girl, you're not going to meet her at the beach. Most of the girls, they're not even going to the beach that I know of. And if they do, they're going to go and lay out there by themselves quietly. And there is some of that, but you don't see very many of those. Most of the time, what you see at the beach is mom and dad or mom, will bring the kids down to the beach for the day or something like that. There's a lot of kids. They like to go swimming. So a lot of people swimming, mostly kids. And a lot of, there's some older people who get in there up to their ankles and maybe even swim out there a little bit themselves. And you will see some surfers in certain areas. You will see there's some areas where they like to go, like down by Huntington Beach or up by the Ventura County line there. There is some areas where there's lots of surfers. Now, they're not sitting outside, out on the beach with their surfboards stuck in the sand, standing up, dancing, and, with the girls. No, they're mostly guys, and these are pretty hardcore surfer guys. A lot of them are like older now, baby boomer types in their 50s and 60s and even 70s. And they're out there in the water, floating on their surfboard, waiting for the next wave to come in with their wetsuits on and stuff like that. That's what you see down at the beach. So there is no Gidget party there, and most of these guys, like I say, they're pretty tough people. They're out there surfing, and there is some younger guys that are also into the surfing, but they're also out there. They're floating on that ocean the whole time pretty much that they're out there. So they're not standing on the beach having a party. and dancing. They're surfing, waiting for that next big wave to come in. And really, most of the time, there's so many beaches along Southern California there. Most of the time, there's hardly anybody at those beaches. Unless it's on a really hot day that's very hot inland, like in the valleys, then, and if it's a weekend especially, that will drive people to go out to the beach. And it's the same group I was just talking about, mostly families and, mom and dad, some older people come out and just walk around on the beach and wade. Maybe they'll lay in the sand with an umbrella, that kind of thing. Very peaceful. There's no big parties going on that I ever saw. Now, that doesn't mean somewhere there wasn't a party and I never saw it. There could have been. I just never saw any. So that's the real view of the beach. It's just a bunch of people going down there, enjoying the ocean, enjoying a little sun on their bodies, and maybe a little bit of time in the water, especially the kids like to splash around in the water. Guys have the idea, or the girls have the idea, they're going to go down to the beach and it's going to be like a singles bar and they're going to meet all these great looking girls with nice bodies and handsome young men. I never saw that happening down at the beach. And I never met a girl at the beach. The only girl ever was at the beach with me is one that I brought myself to the beach, and we both went to the beach together. Now, where the partying in Southern California was taking place was in the nightclubs. There was lots of fantastic nightclubs, and maybe I'll do a video on that later, up and down the coast. And lots of dancing was going on there, and music, and that's where you're going to be meeting the girls and the guys. And I will mention this, and now there was one time when I was down in Redondo Beach, and I was about 29 or 30 years old at the time, and I happened to be there on the day when they were having a bikini contest. And I'd never even heard of these things. I don't know where, I just happened to be down there with a buddy of mine, and we came up on this bikini contest, and the girls were walking out on this little stage. Well, we looked in the little tented area, and they had a bunch of chairs lined up, and there was like 70 women, 75 women in there. And now that day, I did see some beautiful women in bikinis down near the ocean there, in that bikini contest. And to this day, I have never seen so many beautiful women with great bodies in bikinis in one concentrated area. I have to tell you, that is where I saw the most beautiful women in bikinis, not just randomly out on the beach. So if you guys want to go see some beautiful gals in bikinis, that would probably be the place to go. And I'm sure these girls were trying to do it for exposure or whatever. Maybe they were trying to get into the movies or TV or whatever. But we did not meet any of them either, because they were more interested in doing their bikini contest. But that is where the beautiful girls are to be seen, in the bikini contest. And you see some of those are on YouTube. They do, you can look them up on YouTube. I don't have any specific links, but just look up bikini contest. You'll find them on there. That's where the bikini girls are, the beautiful bikini girls. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I just thought I'd, dispel that myth that when you go down to the beach in Southern California, you're going to see beach parties going on. It's not that it's not fun down there anyway. Swimming, you'll see people fishing, you'll see them laying around in the sand enjoying, but not any beach parties that I was ever aware of. Thank you for listening in today, and until next time, this is Lloyd Holiday signing off.